Okay.
The only other thing I can think of as far as parents of what you can do is getting them for practicing, get their practice sessions here at school. Ms. Holder has practice sessions for, of course, for the performances. I work at school a lot on documentaries, and we have to have after-school time to do that. That's on Saturdays. Sometimes we work on Saturdays. Sometimes we work after school. A lot of times we work after school to around 5:30. So we have to have parent support there to get your kids back and forth to these practices. And when you can't be here, to let us know, because we're always waiting on them. We expect them to be here. We usually have them sign up on a schedule on the marker boards in our rooms, and we expect them to be here when they say they're going to be here. If not, to let us know ahead of time. So that's about the only thing I can think of.
Another way you can help is interviews. If you know someone that was participated in World War II, if it's a World War II project, or a Korean War, or a more contemporary, topic, then you can help point your child to someone who's a primary source interview, because they love that. They need to go to those people and sit down for face-to-face interviews and include that as a source. Okay. Obviously, if you're doing a topic like the Salem witch trials, way back when, it's kind of hard to get an interview, but you can get an interview with someone, a secondary source interview, someone who is an expert, right, in that period of history. And heaven knows, we're blessed with that in Conway. We've got professors at UCA, we've got professors at Hendrix that would be happy to sit down with your child with a list of questions and just have a conversation with them about that topic, and they can count that as a source. How about your grandparents' kids? If they participated in the Korean War or World War II or something, or were in Little Rock when the Little Rock 9 was going on and you're doing that as a topic, they would be a great interview source, a primary interview source. So those interviews are really, really important, and that's one thing that you can do. And plus, I will send home a list of topics that all of our kids are doing with you, so you can get a feel for the kinds of things they've chosen to do. And maybe your child might be doing a topic here that you don't have any expertise in, but you see this kid over here has picked a topic, and you know someone who could serve as an interview source or something like that. I would appreciate we kind of networking here and serving as a help for these kids who maybe are not yours. Okay, and so that always helps. So we're going to give you some examples now of some History Day projects to kind of show you what they look like, sound like, act like. And this is the first one right here. Let's talk about an exhibit and what makes a good exhibit. Now, this is a pretty elaborate one. For those of you whose kids, raise your hand in here if you're doing an exhibit. Okay, I've got several parents who, okay. Now this is this exhibit on Iwo Jima. Last year's theme was triumph and tragedy in history, okay? And so you have to be able to, just like in a museum, and this is a museum quality exhibit, you have to be able to walk up to an exhibit and in about 30 or 45 seconds, scan that exhibit and say, okay, I get it. They've made their case. What is the triumph here? What is the tragedy here? And it should be laid out so it kind of leads people through. You've got background on this side, and if you can't see this, it says thrust into war. This is the before, right? Before Iwo Jima. And this is the during Iwo Jima right here. And what was the triumph and what was the tragedy? Now, if we were doing the theme this year's theme is conflict and compromise, right? It would be laid out the same way with conflict and compromise somewhere on that board, so a judge could look up there, look at that exhibit in just a few seconds and say, aha, there it is. All of the components are there. And the part on this side over here, the panel, the inside that you're having problems seeing here, is the long-term impact. What was the political, social, and economic impact of Iwo Jima? They have to carry that on down the line, and that's where the analytical part of this comes in. Can they make a case for what the long-term impact of this, and does it fit the theme? I want you to think about the topic your child has chosen this year. If the theme for the year is conflict and compromise in history, does your child's topic fit that theme? Can they make a case for that? Now, conflict is easy. Right here. This is conflict. Iwo Jima, right? You know, right? The tail end of World War II. That's conflict. But where is the compromise here? Is it compromise as in an agreement, give and take, right? Or is it a failure to compromise? You could go at it from that angle. But let me tell you, if there is compromise involved and your kid is interviewed by a judge and they have failed to address it, and the judge knows that there's a compromise involved, they'll nail them on it. They're responsible for being the experts on that topic, okay? Now, I'm not talking about being able to converse like a PhD. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about have a more than basic understanding of their topic and have really thought through conflict and compromise and what the long-range impact of that event in history was. So if you'll look here, you know, it's on a board, and if you haven't figured this one out, it's supposed to be a Higgins boat. You know the Higgins boats? Look, if I upended this like this, it would be like one of those boats that landed on the shores of Iwo Jima.
Here's the ramp up here. It actually comes up if we unhook it. That's the ramp that went down.
So there is a timeline that is peeling off because this thing's been stored in a garage since last year. So we got them to bring it in here. But the timeline is on this side, and it continues on this side, and it reads around like this in order. So if your child has a board that's like an old science fair board, you know what I'm talking about, like this? Background is here. This is the lead up to the event. The event's in the middle, right? And the impact's over here. So when you walk up to it, you can follow it just like a book. Does everybody understand? You kind of get the feeling there? And all those components have to be there. The background, what actually happened in the event, and the long-range impact, political, social, and economic impact. And we've got to do some teaching with that because we haven't even addressed that yet. They've just kind of picked a topic at this point, but we've tried to help them pick some things that, yeah, there's conflict and compromise there. They just don't know what it is yet. That'll come later, okay?